Hello everyone, welcome back to another installment of Home Media Reviews. This time around, we're taking a look at yet another classic 80s comedy, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What can I say? I'm still loving the 80s. It was probably hell to live through them, though. What with no modern technology, no access to any information at the palm of your fingertips, you had to actually go to the library to look things up. Ugh, gross. But we can continue to look back on the 80s with fondness and rose-tinted nostalgia goggles as we look at Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Let's not waste any time, let's jump right into the history section. So Ferris Bueller's Day Off hit theaters on June 11th, 1986. On a budget of $5 million, Ferris grossed $70.7 million at the box office. A pretty good return on investment there for Paramount Pictures. Considering they only spent $5 million for this thing, that's crazy. No movie nowadays has a budget of $5 million. And looks half as good as Ferris Bueller does. I just watched Doom Annihilation a couple of days ago. That thing had a budget of $4 million, and it looks like it was shot in someone's backyard on a budget of $5 and half a pack of Skittles. I'm just saying, someone from craft services probably got paid really good for Doom Annihilation, because that money was not on screen. My history with Ferris Bueller is one that I don't really remember all that much. From an early age, I knew about Ferris Bueller. My parents were big fans of this film. And I believe I stumbled upon the Blu-ray copy that we'll be looking at during the close-up in like a Target or something. Yeah, back when Target had actual rows of movies. I actually remember there was one Target that I really liked that had like rows and rows of physical media. They always had sales going on for it. It was right by the UPS plant where I used to work. Now, like most Targets, that one's a shell of its former self. The physical media section literally doesn't exist anymore. There's like one row for books, and I think that's it. Oh, vinyl. They also have vinyl records, too. So that's nice. Give it 20 years, physical media will make a comeback just like vinyl did. Everyone thought vinyl was gone, and now look at it. You can find it in regular retail stores. It will make a comeback. Anyway, why don't we pivot back to Ferris Bueller? I think I picked up the Blu-ray with encouragement from my mom, because, like I said, both her and my dad were big fans of this. She was like, you should definitely grab that. I was like, okay, I'll pick it up. Why not? Probably sat on the shelf for a year or two before we finally wound up watching it, but we all sat down together as a family, my mom, dad, and brother, and watched it together one night, and I really enjoyed it. Don't remember specifically what year it was, but I remember we watched it together. And since then, I've always had a tremendous respect for Ferris Bueller. I love the director of it, John Hughes, but it's not one that I go back to all that often. As a matter of fact, watching it for this review might be the second time I've ever seen it in full. But it gives me a perfect excuse to cover it on HMR and to watch it again. April 8th, 1987 brings us Ferris Bueller on both Laserdisc and VHS, the two staple home video formats back in the 80s. This is one VHS I've never seen in person, never found a copy out in the wild, anywhere. Only seen pictures of it. Honestly, I'm not even sure if it's real or not. For legal reasons, that's a joke. I know it's real. A few years later, in 1991 and in 1996, the VHS got reprinted. The Laserdisc, though, was left in 1987, never to see another release, at least here in North America. But I say 91 and 96 together because they use the same poster art. Slightly different from the 87 release, but there are subtle differences here and there. October 19th, 1999 brings us Ferris Bueller on DVD. Not as early as last week's film with Beetlejuice, but hey, still in the 90s, the tail end of them, and we got a DVD. I'm a few months older than Ferris Bueller on DVD. Now that's a fun fact for you. It'd be quite a few years till we saw Ferris Bueller show up on physical media again, but on January 10th, 2006, we got the Bueller edition DVD release. The original DVD didn't feature much in terms of bonus features. I believe there was a commentary with John Hughes, but that was really it. On the 2006 version, though, you get new art and more bonus features. And I'll go ahead and say this up front. This very same DVD was reprinted 2 more times, in 2013 and in 2017. Now we move on to August 5th, 2008, with another DVD reprint. This one's part of the I Love the 80s line from Paramount. Features a new slipcover with new artwork on it. Isn't that fun? Maybe I should pick up this release, since I'm talking about how much I love the 80s. May 5th, 2009 brings us Ferris Bueller on Blu-ray. He finally makes his debut, 10 years after he made his debut on DVD. August 2nd, 2011 brings us a Blu-ray reprint with new artwork. Now you're saying, Garrett, that artwork's not new. They used that on a previous release. Yes, they did. It matches the 2006 Bueller edition DVD. Don't know if the bonus features match as well, but I know that the artwork matches at least. And it was reprinted, just like the DVD previous, twice, in the same years, 2013 and 2017. A little under a year later, on March 8th, 2012, we get a special Best Buy exclusive release. No, it's not a steelbook, it's a slipcover. 2012 was Paramount's 100th anniversary, and such, they put out a whole bunch of their movies with brand new slipcovers, and Ferris Bueller was one of them. These were cool reprints. The slipcovers featured a little pull-out tab that you could read a bunch of information about the making of the film and everything inside of it. It was a cool release. January 1st, 2013 brings us our first multi-pack that includes Ferris Bueller. The Too Cool for School, the John Hughes collection DVD set. This set included Ferris Bueller, Pretty in Pink, and Some Kinda Wonderful. Haven't seen those other two. I know Pretty in Pink is praised as being one of John Hughes' best. Same with The Breakfast Club, so I should probably give that a watch at some point. Haven't heard anything about Some Kinda Wonderful, though. I just know the song. Some Kinda Wonderful. September 30th, 2014 serves us another multi-pack. It's a 5-film collection this time, and it's based around 80s comedy. This included Ferris Bueller, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, another John Hughes film, Airplane, The Naked Gun, and Police Academy. This is kind of relevant to today because the new Naked Gun movie came out like a week or two ago, and apparently it's really good. This same set was reprinted a year later on October 20th, 2015. No artwork changes are present. 3 years later, though, on October 3rd, 2017, it's another multi-pack, and it's another 5-film set. 5 iconic films of the 80s. We have some familiar faces, including Ferris Bueller, The Naked Gun, Some Kinda Wonderful, and then some newcomers, Crocodile Dundee and Harlem Nights. Who the hell's heard of Harlem Nights? I've never heard of that movie before. Everyone's heard of Crocodile Dundee, though. Right, or is that just me? 2 years after that, January 1st, 2019, brings us another John Hughes-themed collection, except it's kind of a reprint of the Too Cool for School set, but it doesn't include the title Too Cool for School, so it gets its own little section here. But it did include the same movies as the previous box set, just with new artwork. February 18th, 2020 brings us another 5-movie collection based around who else but John Hughes. This included the previous 3 films from the other 2 collections that we've talked about, along with She's Having a Baby and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I've done an HMR on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You guys know how much I love that movie. Still have not seen She's Having a Baby, though. Man, we are cursed to continue with these multi-packs. September 22nd, 2020 brings us another freaking multi-pack. Iconic films of the 80s and 90s. 20-movie collection. I am not naming all of these films, but some of the films that it did include was, of course, Ferris Bueller, Clueless, Beverly Hills Cop, and The Untouchables. Hey, you guys want to get nostalgic for a minute? Remember 30 seconds ago when we talked about the John Hughes 5 movie collection way back on February 18th, 2020? Why don't we talk about that set again? Except on Blu-ray. And it was released on February 23rd, 2021. And it includes the same films as before, back in 2020. Just now they're on Blu-ray. Man, that was a fun time, wasn't it? I'll see you guys in 30 more seconds when we get nostalgic about this Blu-ray set. Good times. June 8th, 2021 brings us the first Ferris Bueller Steelbook release. I know, it took Ferris almost 20 years to finally get himself a Steelbook. How about that? It's got some nice artwork on it, just Ferris chilling in the car. However, on October 4th, 2022, this Blu-ray Steelbook was reprinted and could now only be found at Walmart. This was in that weird time period where Walmart was getting Steelbooks that didn't sell well over at Best Buy. Do you remember that era, back when Walmart was like still committed to physical media? They had the whole Steelbook section and some crazy out-of-print steelbooks that you couldn't find anywhere else. I remember specifically they had the Logan comic art steelbook, and I really wish I would have picked that up. It was cheap back in the day compared to what it goes for now on eBay. I also remember seeing a Zombieland steelbook hanging around there a lot. Don't remember ever seeing the Ferris Bueller steelbook, though, but trust me, that section did exist. We are reaching the light at the end of the tunnel. Ferris Bueller hit 4K on August 1st, 2023. Finally, Ferris gets his debut onto the latest and greatest home video format. We've come full circle, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, it wouldn't be a modern day 4K release if there wasn't a steelbook to go along with it. But nothing's changed about it. It's the same artwork. It just includes the 4K disc inside of it. Kind of lame. I would have preferred if they gave it some special artwork. But no, that would be too expensive. Not sure if this was exclusive to Best Buy. I'm sure it was, but it doesn't say anything about that on the Blu-ray.com page for this. It was 2023 though, so Best Buy hadn't phased out physical media just yet. Plus this was back in August. This was before we all knew that Best Buy was ditching physical media. I think they announced that closer to like Black Friday or something. Because by 2024, everything was gone. And folks, that brings us to the end of the history section for good old Ferris Bueller. Let's go ahead and move right along to the close-up. Alrighty everyone, here's your close-up look at Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We've got the Bueller edition here, which is just the standard Blu-ray. Got the Blu-ray disc logo up there, Bueller edition. There's Matthew Broderick in that classic Ferris pose. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Pretty standard poster art here. It's nice. The spine, Paramount Pictures logo, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Product number and Blu-ray disc logo. In the back, you've got a blurb about the movie, as well as a barcode. And then Save Ferris in big letters down there with a bunch of screenshots from the film, as well as your three main cast members there. Special features are listed down there. And you've got cast and crew information, technical specifications, legalese, all that fun stuff down there, including a message telling us that our disc was made in Mexico. Definitely needed to know that. And on the inside, we got another Beetlejuice situation here. Ferris Bueller's Day Off Blu-ray is literally just gray. Not even reflective gray, just that standard Paramount gray. They couldn't even spring for blue. That is really unfortunate. So that wraps things up for the close-up. Let's move right along to the menu tour. Alright folks, here's your Ferris Bueller menu tour. Menu is actually pretty well themed to the movie. It's like a bulletin board there with everything that Ferris has to do on his spectacular day off. You got clips from the movie playing up here underneath the Ferris Bueller's Day Off title there on the post-it note. Your options are down there at the bottom. Play, settings, scenes, and extras. We'll take a look at settings first. For audio, we have a 5.1 English mix, a French 2.0 mix, and a Spanish mono mix. And then for subtitles, English, STH, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. And then for good measure, we also have a little doodle down there, Rooney sucks. For your scenes, we don't have very many of them, but they each have a number and a screenshot. And if we scroll to the end here, 14 scenes. And for a movie that runs, I believe it's an hour and 40 minutes, 14 scenes is alright. Now let's take a look at the extras tab. We have a featurette about the cast of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the making of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, who is Ferris Bueller, The World According to Ben Stein, Vintage Ferris Bueller, The Lost Tapes, and then a class album. A pretty good amount of special features on here. Nothing too intense or really deep, but hey, it's nice to have some stuff about the making of this iconic film. That wraps things up here for the menu tour. Let's go ahead and head on back and answer the 5 main questions as always. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? Well, if we were back in 2013 or 2017, I'd say, hey, you could find it on store shelves. Because not only had this just been reprinted on both primary formats, places like Target and Best Buy still had physical media back then. But now it's become increasingly harder to find physical media in the big box retail stores. It's all but non-existent at Target, and Walmart has really been scaling back recently. They've really been disappointing me lately. So I would say online retailers for this. Hell, you may wander into a Barnes & Noble one day and find a Blu-ray copy sitting on the back shelf for $5. Who knows? Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? This one's easy. No. It's been 2 years. Come on, the 4K is not still being printed. Number 3, should you pick this product up? From the first scene, I'm hooked on Matthew Broderick's performance. He is such a master manipulator, working his parents like an instrument. Ironic since he can't play clarinet later in the film. The inclusion of having Ferris break the fourth wall was a brilliant one. He becomes more relatable, and the audience has a better connection with him through his monologue after his parents leave. Unbelievable. The worst performance of my career, and they bought it. I'm so disappointed in Cameron. $20 says he's sitting in his car right now debating on whether he should come over. Cut to Cameron doing exactly what was described. Perfectly timed jokes are exactly what to expect from this movie. Broderick has a really good comedic partner in Jeffrey Jones, playing Ed Rooney. Now, I avoided talking about Jeffrey Jones last week with Beetlejuice because, let's be honest, he didn't really have a big role in that film. But here, he's kind of front and center. Jones isn't the best guy in the world. Don't look up what he was arrested for. Really terrible stuff. But his role here is nothing short of iconic. The timing of his phone call with Mr. Peterson, you just listen here, dipshit. Just roll their old bones in here and I'll dig up your daughter. His hatred of Ferris is perfectly over the top, and I love watching him try to outsmart this kid. Ferris's plan to break his girlfriend Sloane out of school is insane, but of course it works. He gets Cameron to call Rooney doing a really bad Elvis impression, saying Sloane's grandmother died, and then makes Cameron borrow his dad's Ferrari to pick her up. The disguise, though, that shouldn't have worked. It did lead to a really funny moment when Sloane and Ferris kiss. So that's how it is in their family. Alan Ruck, who plays Cameron, is giving all kinds of facial expressions every time he has a line. The guy's mouth is open in every scene he's in. The more we learn about Cameron, the more I'm liking him as a person and feel for his situation. It's clear his dad would rather have a ton of cars or other physical possessions rather than his own family from the way Cameron talks about him. It's simple. He loves his car and hates his wife. I laughed out loud at Rooney's glasses, the ones that flip up and out. What purpose does that serve? It's so out of left field and perfect for that character. I love it. I do have a feeling, though, this movie had something to do with rules being established about administrator staff and teachers not going to students' homes. Rooney goes all out with trying to break into the Bueller house. It's hilarious and would probably get him sent to jail if this movie took place in reality. Let's be honest, though. If this movie took place in modern day, the kids would be caught instantly. They'd be Snapchatting, Instagram posting, tweeting. Social media would expose them in a heartbeat. A movie like this could only happen in the 80s. And that's why it's special. Chuckled at the Star Wars nod with the Ferrari and the parking garage attendants. Notable since Paul Hirsch, one of the editors of A New Hope, also edited this. I read his autobiography last year, a long time ago, in a cutting room far, far away, and let me tell you, it's a real treat. It wound up being my favorite book of 2024. You guys should definitely check it out if you haven't already. I know what I said earlier about the social media thing, but smart writers can make anything work. Ferris literally performs in a parade, and no authority figures of his notice. His own dad starts grooving to the music, almost doing a Trump dance. It's a wonderful sequence. The running gag of Save Ferris has been seen throughout the movie, but the water tower has to be the magnum opus. That had to have taken most of the day to paint. And how long did it take for word to reach the guys that did paint it? It also leads to Jeffrey Jones getting kicked in the head multiple times. Hilarious. I know it's played for laughs, but I really think Cameron tried to kill himself with the half hour left in the movie. Poor kid is so in shock his dad is going to kill him, he's just going to go ahead and do it himself. Cameron's monologue at the garage was perfectly delivered about how his dad pushes him around and about how he wants to finally take charge of his own life. You could interpret this as he's also going to start standing up to Ferris since he's also been manipulated by Ferris, but I don't think that's what John Hughes was going for. Although you can't expect me to believe that with how smart Ferris is, he actually thought that putting the car in reverse would take the miles off of the odometer. Ferris does redeem himself slightly by taking up for Cameron and offering to take the blame for the car. It's a moment where he actually seems genuine and not putting on an act. The scene after with Sloane also has a similar feel. No one is immune to Ferris's charm, not even his sister, who finally comes around to him by the end. She even lets Rooney get mauled by the dog at the end. Hilarious stuff. And of course, I can't talk about Ferris Bueller's Day Off without mentioning this is the birth of the modern day post-credit scene. Well, kind of. Considering there's still more story that happens while the credits are playing out. Rooney's trying to get on the bus and all that stuff. If it had just been credits rolling and nothing else, then I'd say, oh yeah, absolutely, this is where the modern post-credit scene was born. But this is kind of the prepubescent stage of the modern day post-credit scene. But it is really iconic, of course, and it was parodied perfectly by Deadpool. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is one of those movies that you just feel really good after watching. It's another thing, too, when you watch it again and you realize there's a lot of deeper themes that are going on here. Cameron standing up to his dad and all that. Ferris being kind of a manipulator, kind of an asshole, but a charming one at that. I still don't understand how he was stupid enough to think that putting a car in reverse would take the miles off of the odometer. That part I cannot go with. It's one of those films where you watch it once and you have a surface level enjoyment of it. It was really fun, but then you go back and watch it again and you think to yourself, wow, there's a lot more here than I thought there was going to be. And I got to talk about the comedy. The comedy throughout it is really good. Some of it's subtle, some of it smacks you right in the face, but it's all really well done and well written. And that's the magic of John Hughes. The guy knew how to write a really compelling lead character to lead this kind of story forward. The guy also knew comedy like the back of his hand. Like, dude, come on. Some of his films are just hilarious, including this one. Yeah, I absolutely recommend Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is one of those films that I think everyone should probably see at some point in their life. Something cool about this, too, is I didn't realize this is one of my wife's favorite movies. We've been together almost 6 years, and had no idea. I guess it just never came up in conversation. But when Hope and I were talking about the film list for this new season of HMR, she was like, you gotta put Ferris Bueller on there. It's like, you really like Ferris Bueller? She's like, yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. You learn something new every day, even about the people that you're closest with. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Same answers as number 1. And number 5, what price should you pay? Well, for the 2017, 2013, or 2011, or 2006 Blu-ray / DVD releases, I wouldn't go over $10 for any of them. I haven't heard anything about if the 4K transfer is really good or really bad. I guess it was good. I didn't hear anything about it being bad, so I'd go about 20 for that. I'd say that's worth it. And honestly, you might find one with a slipcover. It's a little bit of a greater possibility there. Well, folks, that wraps things up here for the HMR on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I feel really good about this movie. This is a really good movie. Talking about it makes me want to go watch it again. I should revisit this one more often. It's been years since I saw it for the first time, so I should definitely put it in like every other year rotation at the very least. I guess I'm a testament to my own opinion here, because the first time I saw it, I thought, yeah, this was a fun little movie. I really liked that. And then I watched it the second time for this review, and I'm like, oh, shoot, there's a lot more interesting things going on here than I remembered. And remember this, folks, since it happened to me, that means my opinion is gospel, and it will happen to you. And if it doesn't happen to you, or you happen to not agree with my opinion, you're a heretic and I hate you. Sorry, I'm just thinking like your average Thomas fan. Well, I'm sure everyone's a buzz of what am I going to cover next week, because if you've looked at my Letterboxd, you don't know what it is yet. I haven't logged it, and that's by design. By the time that this comes out, I've already seen next week's film. I've got notes prepared for it and everything. But I want this one to be more of a surprise. Why? I don't really know. I just think this would be fun. Ever since I started posting on Letterboxd and started encouraging you guys to go follow me, people have known what's coming up next on HMR. And I want to keep you guys on your toes a little bit here. You can't know everything in advance. So, without further ado, next week's HMR is on... I hope you guys are excited for that. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you all then. Good night, everybody. Oh, you're still here. I don't really know what to tell you. It's over. Go home. There's nothing here. It's over. It's just a black screen. Go home. That's it. Goodbye. Boy, they must really be excited for the HMR on Kindergarten Cop. That must be why they're still here.